wait. We didn't have an opening plan. You can't just go live. You can't just spring this on me. What are we going to do now? Do we have music?
Let's do the haircut joke again. Where's the wheel?
No, stop. And then people are going to be asking, why did he change headphones? He wants to show off the fact that he can afford a haircut? Like, people are going to, you know what? I think we just need to just do something, Joe. Play the music.
The Warzone Sports Network presents the Fantasy Football Speakeasy. Stay tuned and never miss out.
Stay tuned and never missed out.
And here we are.
This is already off to a horrible start. I just went to Twitter like I always do. And you know how they put up the thing where they show the video and people can see my beautiful face and that's what they click on. They're like, oh, they're fantasy football and a dude rocking a mullet in his 40s. Nothing. It's not up there. It's not on Twitter. It's not streaming properly. I'm going to join the parade of animals screaming at Twitter and StreamYard and all the mess ups that are happening. They're getting an angry DM. StreamYard. Way to go. We have all this technology. Go, Mike.
This is probably why we're not on ESPN yet, because of Twitter.
Several reasons why I'm not
holding us back here live. Anyways, hello and welcome to Speakeasy.
That is right. Welcome into a fantasy football show called the Speakeasy, where we hang out and talk fantasy football. All you got to do is knock twice and come in here and get this fun and sometimes salty fantasy talk from Michael, because today we're going to be having a panic session. Do you have players in your lineup or whatever that you're freaking out about? Then go ahead right now, throw them in the chat, and I'm going to try and be optimistic about all these players. Maybe why they're falling behind or whatever. And then I'm sure we're going to get a little salty sailor down below who's going to come in and rain on everybody's parade. And there it is. But before we get into that, can I just brag on myself real quick and my fantasy football dominance? Can we get this graphic up on the screen? In case you were wondering, after 3 weeks, who's the greatest fantasy mind in the Warzone Sports Network? It's Tuck You, right? Because if you don't know, then Tuck You, mother tuckers. You see what I did there with my team name? My whole life, people were like,
okay. So next time I'm making this graphic, I'm gonna make sure I make everything bigger because I want everyone to know who the highest scoring team is and who should be in the number one spot. If it wasn't for a bunch of reasons, actually, I'm not even gonna get into it.
Tuck You. No, Tuck You.
Tuck
referees, Lamar Jackson.
Because I'm a bad mother tucker. Shut your mouth.
I'm just realizing I'm not just outscoring you, Tony. I'm outscoring you by 50 in only 3 weeks.
Mike, it doesn't matter how many you score. It's the wins.
This is because he rigged the scoring. He rigged the scoring.
I wish that I didn't have chubby fingers so I could really throw up some dubs right now. But my fingers just don't.
You gotta eat them.
Yeah, no, I can't. That's one of the most embarrassing videos I've ever seen. Like, I feel uncomfortable when Jameis Winston is walking around, chewing on his own fingers like that. I'm really uncomfortable. Yeah. We got EWs today. Okay.
You know what? As a big guy myself, chewing on your fingers happens a lot more often than people think. Just to let you guys know it does happen, and it hurts like heck.
I can only imagine Joe just trying to clean the barbecue sauce and just takes a phalange.
Why is everyone coming at your hair, Tony? This has been a thing for the last 2 days.
People love Patrick Mahomes.
I think people think it's hilarious and ridiculous. There's even a little mullet that you can't fully get your head wrapped around. Because I feel like at this stage in my life, when I don't really leave the house a whole lot, nobody really does anymore. But why not go for it? My wife hates it, by the way.
Let me tell you, at all. That hair is better in person. The camera does no justice to it.
It doesn't. It's mullet-tastic.
Tony invited me to his house one time. I went over there, and I showed up, at the time. I didn't know if I should show up at the same time that he says, or a little bit late, so I showed up around that. And his wife lets me in, introduces herself. I meet the whole family, and then I'm like, where's Tony at? And then Tony comes out an hour later. And he's like, hey, it takes a while for this to look good. I just don't wake up like this.
You gotta let your soul glow. That's what it is right there. Mike doesn't get that reference.
No, I don't.
Coming to America, Eddie Murphy in the 80s, there was a product that's for
80s.
Jerry curls so you could get the drip. Let your soul glow.
Once you say 80s, I'm out.
Mike's done with it right there in the 80s.
Say anything older than like 2007, I'm out.
If I lean back, it'd be a huge stain. A huge stain.
Hello,
on
Phil
my Bosa jersey. Let's talk some fantasy football. These people are here. That's like 5 minutes in. They're like, this asshole. What is he doing right now?
Because we're not gonna do what you guys think we're gonna do, and just freak out, man.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Here's the deal. Robert Woods. You go onto the internet. Everybody's freaking out, man. Robert Woods. I don't know what's going on. I made this joke earlier that I feel like Matthew Stafford is lumber intolerant and he just avoids the woods at all costs. Like, what is going on? Robert Woods has been one of the most reliable, consistent wide receivers over the last 4 or 5 seasons, and now he can't even get a look. Like, he's out there, he's just a decoy, just running just routes to increase the ability of Cooper Kupp. And you're sitting there, you're like, I can't trade him. Use the 4th round pick on him. What am I gonna do? How do you guys feel about this? Are you guys as panicked as the internet is on Robert Woods?
Well, this is the reason I was telling everyone not to draft Robert Woods. Don't draft Rams receivers. You never know who it's going to be. You never know who it's going to be from week to week. I know Cooper Kupp's been taking over so far, but could I see Robert Woods going on another run? Yes. If you have Robert Woods, should you be trading him right now? No. His value is too low. You got to keep him.
I'm not freaking out about Robert Woods. I'm not.
Me?
I am one of those guys that in a draft, if it was Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, I probably went Robert Woods. I didn't do it 7 or 8 times like some people have, but I probably would have went Robert Woods because Robert Woods is the bigger guy. He's the downfield guy, and I was thinking Matthew Stafford would throw it a little bit more. I understand why Cooper Kupp is going off. Sorry. I'm like, I'm trying to try. Tony over here laughing, and I'm like, anyway.
No, I'm laughing because Piggy's in here, and I have the ultimate response to it.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think Robert Woods is going to come around. It's coming, and the Cooper Kupp love. Pretty soon, people are going to start going at Kupp and then open it up. But Matthew Stafford, right? He's always been this kind of guy. That's just what his problem was in Detroit. He went to one wide receiver. So you got to think a little bit. You got to be a little bit scared, but it'll be all right. It's going to get fixed.
Okay, here's why I'm not freaking out about it. Like, these stats that we're seeing, these are 2021 stats. Like, he had these stats in one game with a guy like Jared Goff, right? So we know what he's capable of. I'm not freaking out. I actually, last week on the show, I said he was a buy low candidate, and I'm still buying low on Robert Woods because this offense, they have tough games coming up. This weekend, I believe that Arizona can score, and they're going to need to, be putting up points. We're going to see him get more involved. They're not going to pay this guy all this money and just have him out there as a blocker and a decoy. Brighter days are ahead. The guy's going to put up huge numbers. Is he going to catch Cooper Kupp at this point? For the apple of Stafford's eye? Probably not. But you can't be freaking out. You can't just burn the woods down. You got to Smokey the Bear can only prevent forest fires.
You should.
Don't light the woods on fire.
You should light the woods on fire.
The idea that he's a racist is like he force-fed Calvin Johnson, Nate Burleson, Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones. Do you know how hard it would be to be a racist quarterback in the NFL? There's 6 white wide receivers. You'd be like, I need to trade for Hunter Renfrow. Jordy Nelson needs to come out of retirement. The list would be really short. It'd be really tough to be to only have eyes.
He did.
The good thing is he already has the tight end.
Yes, he does.
Well,
even Higbee had a good game. Maybe Kevin's onto something. Maybe he got to LA.
He did come from Detroit, where Hawkinson was the number one weapon, to LA, where Kupp and Higbee are there.
Yeah, but he also loved Damian Amendola.
What?
Man,
we might be cooking something up here.
Kevin, you're onto something.
Yes.
It's gonna go on conspiracy shows with Tony and Jake, and it's gonna be crazy. So
that was my conspiracy. That was my
are
conspiracy.
we hitting the button? Are we hitting the button? No panic button?
Panic. Trade him.
No panic.
No
Get
panic.
back in your bathrobe. Get a cigar.
You guys both vote
Brandy
no
sniffer.
panic. You both vote no panic.
No panic.
No panic.
Like I went like this, and I was about to, and I said,
The team votes no panic, and I know there is no I in team, but I am hitting panic. Panic.
Yeah. That's
I'll tell
the
you
problem with
something
you
I probably
young
will hit
people.
panic on.
What?
I said, I'll tell you who I will hit panic on, though.
Who's
And
next?
it's this one right here.
Okay, I'm ready.
Oh my goodness.
You hit it so hard.
Everybody, just relax. Get some CBD gummies. Chill out. Robbie Anderson is about to have a day. I know it's been really slow. 5 catches. Not even the targets aren't even really there. I know we don't have him up, but it's only like he's only been targeted like a dozen times this season, and it's slow. But he has the connection with Matt Rule. He does have a history. Like, okay, this is the way I look at it. Imagine you're Sam Darnold and you get somewhere and you're like, oh, wow, look at all this talent I have around me. He's like, I want to give it to you, CMC and DJ Moore. And like, he got there and is immediately looking around and thinking like, okay, I want to like build a relationship. He already has a relationship with Robbie. Robbie Moore's going to be fine. And now that CMC is out, they're going to be looking to get him the football. Matt Rule is not going to leave him there just like not getting anything. Robbie Anderson's fine, people. Give yourself a hug. It's going to be a huge game for Robbie Anderson. You'll be glad you didn't drop him or trade him after this week.
This week, right?
I don't know why. I don't know why when you were talking right there, it just popped in my head that you have now I have Sam Darnold looking like Oprah going, you get receptions, here, you get a touchdown. I'm like, okay, Tony, calm down with your Oprah stuff. Like that was going through.
Everybody gets receptions. That's my Oprah right there.
I'm hitting the panic button. Marshall's coming up. He's going to take over a little bit more. They just traded Dan Arnold because they like the second string tight end that broke out last week. I can't think of his name right now. Maybe you guys can help me out. Tremble, so he's going to get more work. Maybe Robbie Anderson. There's that meme that came out that Sam Darnold looks at Robbie Anderson and it reminds him of Adam Gase and the Jets, and he's like, nope, never mind. I don't know. If I have Robbie Anderson, I'm trying to get rid of him.
No.
I am going to not panic yet, but I am close to hitting the button. I think let's see what the offense looks like without CMC first before you ship him out. You shouldn't have invested too much in Robbie Anderson anyways. It shouldn't make or break your fantasy season. I feel like people have probably a lot more invested in Robert Woods than they do Robbie Anderson. So if he's a depth piece on your bench, I don't think you need to panic yet. Keep him on your bench until you see an opportunity to trade him after a really good week. Or let's just see what this offense looks like without CMC now, because they could completely change it up and start throwing it out to these wide receivers on those extended handoffs, as Tony Romo likes to call them, on all the broadcasts. So I'm not panicking yet, but my hand is like hovering over.
11 targets in 3 games. 11 targets.
Yeah. But okay, here's the other thing that we're not looking at. Like, we have to look at. There's going to be positive game script at some point. They've played 3 like below average teams, right? Mm-hmm. Like who's been on their schedule that they've really had to like open it up against? They're going to see the Saints twice. So Lattimore's probably going to be taking DJ Moore in those games. He's going to be very reliable. Another haircut comment. I love it. I'm going to start getting my haircut, get cut more, or grow a crazy mustache.
Mustache,
so same old sports.
A couple of years ago, I actually did have like a big like.
Oh, come on! Please bring that back.
Where it's like it's twisted. I had mustache waxes and stuff.
You know how many logos I can make with that mustache?
There's a couple of good photos.
Anyways,
Don't panic. Robbie Moore is going to be fine. Leave him on your bench. Don't drop him.
Robbie Moore. You keep saying Robbie Moore.
Robbie Moore, Robbie Anderson.
This is how much respect we give Robbie Anderson. We call him Robbie Moore. We don't even spell his name right.
Well, Brian calls him
Straight
Bean Anderson. That's it.
String B. Who's next on the list, Joe?
Mr. Ryan Tannehill.
Okay. This one. Panic. Like, here's the thing. I'm not panicking based on, like, you didn't draft him high, but here's the reason is that if you didn't go and get Carr or Kirk Cousins, and now you're trying to, like, stream somebody else, maybe Joe Burrow or whatever, like, it's going to be an up and down season at QB. Because I think we have another one of his teammates that's going to be on the list. But, like, if you're looking around, like, Derrick Henry looks like he's going to run back that 2K season. And now we all thought this guy already doesn't throw for a ton of yards because of that. But now the touchdown passes are in question. Julio Jones is there with a bum hammy. Like, Ryan Tannehill it's like, what are you going to do? Like, this weekend, he's throwing to Chester Rogers and some guy with a hyphenated last name that I didn't even bother learning because I don't think that he's going to be there very long. But he was he was a hot waiver wire. But yeah, okay, so we got 7 in here. 7, what's going on? What's good this morning? He is playing the Jets. But again, why not just give the ball 25 times to Derrick Henry? The only positive coming out of this situation that I've seen so far is that Derrick Henry is going to crush his receiving game usage, now making him by far should have been the number one. Because if you factor in Henry's, like, durability in games, and now he's getting passing game usage, and I have Delvin Cook in 3 leagues, and I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight wondering, like, is this a bad move to start? Should I be putting in a better floor player over Delvin Cook, who's coming in against the Browns defense, who hasn't given up more than 50 yards or a touchdown to a running back? And I'm going to start a guy who's coming in with, I'm not going to sleep tonight. Basically what I'm saying. It's going to be like, should I be taking out Delvin Cook? Because I need to beat FloJo in the one league that I'm playing him in, because I can't live in a world where this guy's going to be talking shit to me. I already dominated him in a trade, like absolutely crushed him. But now if he beats me head to head, then he now has the upper hand again. I can't have that. Can't happen. I smoked him in that trade, by the way. Where are you guys at on Ryan?
You're saying stay away from Nick Westbrook, King, or whatever his name is, Josh Reynolds, and who else they got over there? Chester Rogers and Cameron Batson. Is that who you're saying? Stay away from them because Ryan Tannehill is panicked. We're panicking.
Panic. I don't even trust Firsker.
Run, Joseph, run. That's what I'm saying to you. Okay.
Get away from Tannehill. This is what we're okay. So 2 years ago, Ryan Tannehill came in, took over from Mariota. He had an excellent season, right? Then they gave him the big contract, and everybody's like, can he continue to do it? Now he's kind of reverted back almost to the Miami guy, right? Like we kind of knew this was coming. There was only a matter of time until you knew Tannehill was playing above his head. This is it. This is it. We're here. And he has weapons. He did have weapons until this week. And it's not going to work out. You have the best running back in the game, and you still can't complete some of the passes that you need. But so I'm panicking on Ryan Tannehill along with you guys.
I'm also panicking. I'm not going to go as far to say that he's Miami Ryan Tannehill. I still think that Ryan Tannehill is executing the game plan. I just feel like the Titans still realize, they never forgot it. Their path to victory is number 22, who is a monster in the backfield. So that's why you're not seeing the Ryan Tannehill numbers. As teams adjust to Derrick Henry, you may see Tannehill's numbers go back up. I'm still hitting panic because the weapons can't stay healthy, and they've had a history of injury in the past. So I don't expect there to be a difference, especially when they're already banged up in week 3 of the season. That's kind of going to just continue throughout the rest of the year. I still think Tannehill's going to have a great year. I still think Tannehill's going to have a 25 and 8 interception year. But I just don't know about fantasy value when it comes to the game plan and the weapons being banged up.
This is why I always stay away from Tannehill. I like the stats that he put up last year, and I like what he does. And he does vulture a couple of the Derrick Henry touchdowns when they get close to the end zone. But this is why I try not to ever draft him, because I've been waiting for the decline. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's only week 3 and he turns it around and he goes all the way back. But as of right now, I'm panicking. And like Tony said, I'm looking for one of these guys that didn't get drafted, like the Derek Carr. Maybe I'm taking that chance on Kirk Cousins. I'm still not sold on Kirk Cousins, even though he's doing great. But, yeah, Mike sure has a lot of jerseys in his closets. He has more than that in his closet.
It's kind of, yeah, that's true. But it's kind of wild. Like, this is why I know we draft quarterbacks late, but this is why you got to be really selective when you do that strategy. If you wait till all the good quarterbacks are gone, you're choosing between those, 10 to 15 ranked QBs. Make sure you choose wisely. And Tannehill could be screwing some people over this year. They could have the perfect lineup because they didn't draft a quarterback till the 10th round, but Tannehill ain't doing it.
You guys want to answer this question before we go on to the next one?
Yes, I do. Devonta, Pittman, Edmonds, or Beasley this week in PPR. So Pittman, tough matchup. Don't love that. I do think that the Eagles are going to have to put a bunch of points on the board, right? Like the Eagles Chiefs. So I'm probably leaning towards Devonta Smith. Like I'm still waiting for that one game where he has 6 or 7 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown. And I think
I'm going with the solid one, Tony. I'm going with the guy who's proven. I'm going with Cole Beasley. That's who I'm going against, the Texans. He gets the targets each week. He gets 10 targets. And I don't know about the other guys. The other guys, I know Pittman is getting there, but he has a tough matchup, like you said. The other guys aren't proven enough for me. Where Cole Beasley is proven, I know he's going to get the 10 targets. What he does with those 10 targets, I don't know. But at least I know he's going to get those targets.
101 yards in the tub for Devonta Smith against the Chiefs.
I love it. I think there's a real opportunity for Smith to have that game that we've been waiting for. Here's the reason I don't like your pick, Joe. And it's not that I don't like you. And I love white rappers. So Cole Beasley has a lot going for him in life. But I will say this about Cole Beasley. That game feels like it could be a real stomp fest by the Bills. And they might not be throwing the football because I believe they're playing the Houston Texans this week with Davis Mills. That could be like the defense scores a couple touchdowns and Zach Moss runs them in and they only throw the ball 24 times or whatever. And Cole Beasley's not getting that. Like I'm starting Emmanuel Sanders in a league and Dawson Knox in a league, and I don't feel great about
That's why you don't want That's why you don't want Cole Beasley, because you have the other counterparts.
No, I'm saying it. I'm trying to give our boy Zygmunt here, great name by the way, trying to give him some good advice. Go with the upside.
Charlie Zygmunt.
Yeah, and I mean Edmonds is also, he's due for one too. So maybe in the passing game, maybe SoFi Stadium, maybe he lights it up. But I would go Devonta Smith in that situation.
Charlie, sorry, we split on it, but if you want to go with Mike and Tony, you go with
Devonta
Smith. If you want to go with me, you go with Cole Beasley. Or if you want to go with yourself, you pick one of the other ones and let us know who was right come next week. But pretty good. We'll stay with the Tennessee Titans and we'll go with A.J. Brown. I put a little medical there because he is hurt. But look, he's 100% owned in every fantasy league, as he should be. But he has 7 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown this year. That's not one game. That's not one game. That's the season. That's the whole season right there.
That's the part that when I look at it, I freak out. My concern is more on the injury side for him. That's why the only league I had him in, I traded him in, because the managing knee injuries when you're 22 and a half years old is concerning to me. I was also concerned by just how great and effective and everything was going for Derrick Henry. But if you have somebody in your league who's panicking about him, I would still buy him, because as much as I might be concerned about his injuries, I'm also concerned about Julio Jones, who's dealing with another soft tissue. And although I think ultimately they're kind of, both of these guys are out maybe as precaution based on the opponent, and they think they can still win, why not make either of these guys really push it this weekend?
So sad.
I'm fine. I'm fine with not fine. That's a bad way to put it. I still think that that AJ Brown can finish as a top 10, and I'm not panicking on him. But definitely, if the right person offers me way too much in a trade, I'll make that trade.
Seal the door open for people to send some offers in. I drafted AJ Brown because I thought he was going to have a huge year this year. I drafted him a lot, actually. I think I had him in 3 out of my 5 leagues. I no longer do. But I was thinking, I know there's like the game plan issues with Derrick Henry taking it, but I just thought he was going to be that good this year. I thought he was going to take the next step and be an elite wide receiver and kind of come out of 2021 established. But with knee injuries, and I think I could be wrong that it was both knees. It wasn't just one knee.
Yep.
That's super concerning to me. It's hard. Like, you can play through injury, but it's hard to play through injury for 15 more weeks. That's tough to me. And I think he's going to be in and out for the rest of this year if he's dealing with this stuff this early in the year. So you can ask Joe and Tony. I started shipping him off. I was telling them about all these trades I was doing with AJ Brown. And I'm glad I did, because week 3 after that, I probably wouldn't be able to get too much for him.
Yeah, and I actually tried to get him as a buy low early before he went out and got hurt last week. I was like, oh, hell, I'll send you this, and it just didn't work out for me. So I'm glad it didn't work out for me, because I would have him on my team right now. But hey, it happens. Some things happen for a reason. Am I going to go full panic mode because of an injury? No. Am I going to lower expectations a little bit on AJ Brown because what we're seeing early in the season? Yes. But I'm not going to go full panic mode on him, because I still think he's still a top receiver, at least top 20. And you invested a lot into him, so you don't want to trade a lot away from him. You don't want to trade and just get rid of him for nothing right now.
I will say that if you are a good team and you can bring him in as your wide receiver too, I think he is a decent buy low candidate still. Personally, for me, he was my wide receiver 1, so I need to figure something out. See,
I have a guy that had him as his number 1 wide receiver and Christian McCaffrey. He lost both of them in the same week.
Oof,
so it's going to be tough. And yeah, and you invested a lot into AJ Brown, and you're going to want a lot back. But I would say play the waiver wire. Like we said, like, wide receiver position is always deep, right? It's been deep. It will be deep unless you're in some weird 16-man fantasy league with some weird rules and you got to play like 3 wide receivers on each team. Then there's no wide receivers left. But I'm sure you can go out there, get a good guy off the waiver wire, maybe pick up one of the guys from the Raiders, or that I'm just saying, like, they're picking up stats right now, and they're probably there, one of the wide receivers, because they didn't get drafted. The Raiders didn't get drafted, so you could probably find one of them that are putting up those good stats right now to replace him for a couple weeks until he gets back to 100% or at least 90%.
AJ Brown, you know what to do. You drafted him high. Boss Man Fat, welcome in here. Love that name, by the way. Boss Man Fat. I wish that I would have stolen that handle. That's a good one. Start Beasley or Amari Cooper. Dallas is playing who this weekend?
The Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
I'm going with Coop. Coop. Oh, should I do it? Should I show it, Mike? Should I show it?
Yeah,
right
show
here.
it off.
Let's get it.
For his freaking 1.5 seasons he spent as a Raider.
Where's that? Where's my camera at? Right?
It's on the other side. Even
Amari Cooper! Yeah!
Yeah, 89.
I think you got to start Amari Cooper. This game feels like it's going to be more competitive than I think people are giving Carolina credit for. Their defense is really good. And Amari Cooper did not have like back-to-back good games. So I think Dak maybe tries to get him a little involved. I'm going with Amari Cooper in this one. And if he doesn't, maybe he'll be part of a panic session real soon.
Yeah, I hate Amari Cooper.
Play him. We got to kind of speed some stuff up a little bit, because we do have a new show coming out, or a new episode of Fantasy Football Boot Camp right after this in about 20 minutes. So, guys, if you guys are watching this, you're going to get overloaded with fantasy advice today. We're going to overload you. We're going to hook you up for the weekend. So make sure you guys stay around for the Fantasy Football Boot Camp right after this. But we'll go right into our next guy, Georgia Kittle. Get up.
George Kittle, again, somebody that I was setting up to trade for this week, and then the calf injury came out, and then it's like, oh well, it's one of those things where it's like, do you want to trade a healthy player and sell them while they're high, trying to get George Kittle, who finally had a good game last week, but again, like the injury, it just seems like, holy shit, how can you be injured again? And I just don't want to deal with guys that constantly seem to be battling through stuff.
I have him too, Boss Man Fat. It's so frustrating because that dude will have 40 points and in the next 2 weeks put up 2 points. And it's not like, oh, now you can trade him because he's playing bad. No, he's going to have another 40-point game in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, and it could be this weekend.
You just never know when it's going to happen. So you never know when to freaking play the dude. Even against good defenses, he'll just go off randomly.
So George Kittle, I think people are panicking a little bit too much, and I don't know why. He's really only had one bad game, and that was against the Eagles, right? Where he caught 4 catches for 17 yards. Other than that, last week against the Packers, 7 for 92. The Lions, he had 4 for 78. So he got the yardage. He's just not getting the touchdowns. They want the touchdowns to go along with it. And I think those will come. Let it. And if you were scared of George Kittle and the injuries, you knew that going into the draft. This is why George Kittle has dropped from being one of the top tight ends to number 3, number 4 now, and why Darren Waller has taken over his spot as the number 2, number 1 guy. So you already knew about you drafted Kittle knowing there could be injury problems. You just wanted the more touchdowns, and you were wanting that. I don't think there's any problem with him. I think he's still part of the offense. I think he's getting everything he needs. So I'm not hitting the panic button on Kittle.
Yeah, I'm not hitting the panic button either, Joe. I'm with you on this one. You just got to keep in mind, tight ends are inconsistent. There's only one consistent tight end in the league every week in, week out, and his name's Travis Kelce. So he already had a big game. He already had a decent game last week. And I will point out, and I noticed that he did really well against the Green Bay Packers. Are the 49ers saving him for those big games a little bit when they start to play in games that they feel like they can win on the ground? I think that might be a thing too.
Boss man subbed.
It'd be smart not to pound Kittle into the ground until you need him.
Flojo needs Kittle. He needs him. He
does. Yeah, but
well, let's say this right now. Do you guys think that Kittle's still going to finish top 4?
No.
Well, I don't know.
Behind Hawkinson, right?
Yeah, well, that would be Kelce, Waller, Hawkinson, Kittle as the top.
I think Logan Thomas is moving his way up slowly but surely.
Mark
the
Andrews
guy from Minnesota is making a bone for himself. Dalton Schultz, a guy that I've been throwing out there for the last 2 weeks, finally went off.
So try and trade Kittle. Try and trade Kittle because you can probably get one of those guys you just listed and somebody for Kittle.
Hig
Beast is there. I do think that drafting him where you drafted him, there's a real opportunity for disappointment.
Gronk.
Yes, thank you, Boss Man Fat. We appreciate you subbing there. That's awesome. Same old sports. We missed that comment up there. How we feeling about Rondale Moore? And I feel really good about him this weekend against the Rams. Like I think that him or Kirk or one of those guys is going to eat, because if Ramsey shadows Hopkins, one of those guys needs to go off. And so maybe it's Rondale Moore bouncing back after last week's disappointment.
Let me say one thing, Tony, about George Kittle or about any of these guys that we're talking about. You have to find the guy in your league that only loves name brands, right? He only loves the name brands, so he hears George Kittle and he remembers George Kittle, badass player. I want him on my team, but he doesn't actually look at the stats, or he doesn't look at these guys and go, okay, because he's the same guy that you offer, I don't know, somebody who's going off right now. You offer him, and he's like, no, that guy sucks. But really, he's probably the number 1 wide receiver in the league. And he's like, no, that guy sucks. But you offer him George Kittle, he remembers that name. So you're selling George Kittle off of the name alone, but you could pick up these other smaller tight ends that are doing basically the same job he's doing and add something else to it. You might as well do it. But find the guy. There's always one guy in your league that loves name brand players, and you find him and ship him off.
Not that guy, pal.
I don't know. I want to buy Kittle. I really do.
Okay, well, I have a question then. I have a team that's absolutely loaded, right? But except for I have Logan Thomas in my tight end, and I'm thinking about possibly going after Kittle. Should I do it, or should I just rock with Thomas for the year?
Rock with Thomas.
Yeah, I would rock with Logan Thomas too. There's also just the way that defense is playing, I think that they're going to continue to sling the ball a little bit. And Taylor Heinicke, I trust. I know nobody else is on that bandwagon. And after last week, it's lost a lot of people. Lost a lot of good souls on that bandwagon.
Trade Matt Ryan to Washington.
I tell Mike to hold on to Logan Thomas, and I just traded him like 2 minutes before the show started.
I was gonna bring that up too. That I was like, we just talked before Mike.
Like you preach. Wait a
minute. I actually have Travis Kelce out of my team. Logan Thomas was my flex, so it's not like that. Right. Anyways, we kind of gotta let's go through these.
Yeah, let's burn through a couple of them. Yes, the Warzone takeover. You gotta please excuse Flojo. He's too many tattoos. We got CEH here. And I'm not panicked. I'm starting him this weekend because I think that there could be an opportunity for some blowout time, and maybe they just feed him the rock. Hopefully use him in there. It's not a full-on panic. He's part of an offense that's too good. That's going to put up too many points. And I'm just not sure what you're getting back for him. So I'm not in full panic. I just think that if you drafted him in the second round, you will probably be disappointed. But I just don't know what you're getting back in return for him, and you're not going to drop him. I mean, if he's dropped in your league, definitely pick him up. He's worth the spot on your bench.
I hit this panic button last year on CEH. Last year, and I wasn't buying it again this year. So if you have CEH and you're still buying them, good luck, because you suck, and you're going to have a rough season. CEH has been the number one running back in the number one offense for 2 years, and he has done absolutely nothing. And I'm not buying it just because of one good game against a crappy Charger defense that allows a lot of runs. I'm not buying it. So.
He fumbled in the game. So not only is he in the number one offense and not putting up fantasy points, he's in the number one offense, not putting up fantasy points, and fumbling like crazy. Panic. I never would have drafted him in the second round. Never would have drafted him in the second round.
Damian Williams got 48% of the plays last week. He was in there 48% of the time. So
Flojo's killing me right now. Flojo is killing me.
Chiefs can run with any running back in their backfield. Any running back.
They can, but they're not going to. They're going to continue. Even after the fumble last week, Andy Reid said, get out there and go get this 100 yards against this weak Chargers run defense.
Oh, well, I'm just saying that CEH doesn't hold value to the Chiefs. It shouldn't hold value to you in fantasy.
Trash. Tony T and CEH are from the – yeah, Tony loves CEH for some reason.
Yeah, he's been defending CEH. We had an argument, but I forget who the other running back was. It was someone else right in that stratosphere around CEH draft time. I forget.
It was probably DeAndre Swift, and I got if that's the case, then
I wouldn't argue that hard for Swift.
My apologies.
All right.
DeAndre Swift was great. Let's go next.
Outlook on Diggs. Great. Go with Diggs. If you can get Diggs, get him. Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon has been rumored that Mike Shanahan said this week, just now, I just read it, that he said Trey Sermon was clicking all week in practice, and he expects a lot out of him this weekend. We saw him, 2 weeks ago? He came in, got knocked the heck out of the game, got the concussion, and then all these stats were from last week, basically.
Yeah, he hasn't had the opportunity yet. I mean, we got to give him the opportunity first. I'm not panicking. I don't feel like you invested a ton in Sermon either, so if you had him as a late-round pick as a flyer, keep him in that spot and wait for him to blossom. He's going to grow into a beautiful flower.
I am hoping that Elijah Mitchell is not available to go for this game. Not for his own personal health. They don't have anything against Elijah Mitchell, obviously. But I really think there's an opportunity for Trey Sermon to explode against a bad defense this week in the Seahawks. And I'm expecting some fireworks in that game and a lot of fantasy points. Let's keep it rolling here. We got 10 minutes until fantasy football boot camp. Justin Fields. Here's why I'm panicked. Because their head coach is an insane person, and he's still talking about Andy Dalton being the starter, even when he's back from knee injuries. And then he throws Nick Foles into the equation. Like, nobody asked about Nick Foles. No, like, nobody was like, oh yeah, Nick Foles is there. It's like, we forget. We don't even want to know that he's there. I think that this guy mismanaged Mitch Trubisky. He seems to be doing the same with this situation. What's going on? I don't know. Like, it was a combination of just like a rookie playing a good defense and bad play calling last week. Talent-wise, I'm not panicking. I'm panicking about this coaching situation.
Yeah, if you're relying on Fields, trade him. He's not putting up QB1 numbers this year, and there's a couple of reasons for it. And when they all come together like this in a very bad situation, it's just going to be a long year for the Bears, to a point where they may even lose this weekend to the Lions, which is kind of sad if you ask me. But it's a combination of the O-line is terrible. The play calling is terrible. Fields played terrible in the games where the play calling was good and the O-line was decent. It's so bad in their offense right now that I am starting to panic a little bit about David Montgomery. A little bit.
Yeah. And Allen Robinson, all the Bears. Yeah. Look, I've been on Justin Fields' bandwagon since he got drafted. You guys know I said he's the best quarterback in the draft. He got sacked 9 times in his debut. 9 times. That's on Matt Nagy. That's not on Justin Fields. Could have been a lot worse if Justin Fields would have just thrown the ball up or fumbled the ball a lot more. No, he took those sacks and he didn't make big mistakes. And that's what I was encouraged by. And like, people were like, are you still down with Fields? I don't care. If like you got sacked, that's not on you. They said out of all the plays, like 80% of the time they ran 5-man protection. So they only had the 5 offensive linemen. And they already have crappy offensive linemen going against a good Browns defense like that rushed the quarterback. So that's on Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy, and like somebody just said, maybe Matt Nagy needs to be fired. Maybe Mitchell Trubisky was a lot better than people thought. But, yeah, Matt Nagy has mismanaged that whole thing. Justin Fields, as a talent-wise and as a quarterback himself, great guy. But you got to probably hit the panic button on the coaching staff and everything else going in there. But that doesn't just Fields. Like Mike said, it goes to Montgomery. It goes to Allen Robinson. It goes to everybody in Chicago.
And to go one step further really quick before we move on to the next person, to go one step further, not only did they call that high percentage of only 5 guys protecting him, only 4 times. I watched that entire game for Mike's film room this week. Only 4 times in the entire game did they design a rollout or a quarterback run.
Yeah.
That's
and I thought they were taking the Houston tape, watch what Tyrod Taylor did, and go, okay, let's have Justin Fields do that. They absolutely didn't do that because Tyrod Taylor was tearing that Browns defense up for a while until he got hurt. So I don't know what Matt Nagy was doing.
They just set him up to get killed. They set him in the pocket and just said, good luck.
Well, I'm going to do what Nageltooth. I'm going to do what Matt Nageltooth would not do, and I'm going to call an audible right now because we got a question from Griffin. I don't know if we got the promo video for tomorrow, but let's get this question from Griffin Steegman. Griffin Steegman is here. Hines, Singletary, Tyson, or Mitchell? Pick 2. I'm going with
Tyson.
I'm starting to lean in on Hines a little bit. I'm starting to like what he's doing a little bit. So I'm gonna go Hines.
Who are you taking, Tony?
I'm going Hines Tyson.
That's who I'm going with.
I'll stamp it with you guys.
Yeah. All 3, Tony. Hines, this is what we do. All 3.
Yeah.
Hines Tyson.
Okay, Tony. You don't want to get in on this?
Yeah, Tony.
You don't want to get on this?
Come on. There we go. Hines Tyson. Hines Tyson. Bam.
The only difference is that I make this shit look good when we do it. That's
Not
why
twice gets fantasy advice. Hines Tyson.
So we're going through the last 2 real quick, Tony. Cook, not panicking on.
Nope. Keep Cook.
Guys, I'm freaking out. I'm not going to lie to you.
I know you have him. It's easier to say when you don't have him.
I have him in 3 leagues, and I'm freaking out.
Relax.
Because I can't. How can you relax? Like every week, it's like, well, he's not practicing. Well, he doesn't have to practice to play, then he doesn't play. I think the reason I'm freaking out is because one league I don't have his backup in. That's the league I'm freaking out in, where it's like, I don't want to play him, and then he goes out there and he runs 2 plays, and then the rest of the game, he's just on the sideline, and Madison is getting all the touches. I'm really on the fence about not starting him in a league tomorrow, just for the floor of Kareem Hunt. I'll just be like, I'll take minimum 10 points from Kareem Hunt over Delvin Cook
All right,
against
Mike,
the Cleveland Browns.
1 second on it. Come on.
Tony, when you signed the dotted line to draft Cook over King Henry, you accepted injury risk. So here you are. You got to play through
accept it.
You got to play through this.
It's bullshit.
Panic!
Yeah,
Robert
panic.
Bob Tunyon, if you drafted him, you already knew he was touchdown dependent off of last year, and you're panicking this year. Panic.
I hate all those people that overhyped him.
Yes, exactly. Can we get Mike on a single shot here? Bob Tunyon all offseason?
Bob, the GOAT Tunyon is the same by his name.
All right.
Okay.
So,
panic
Warzone
on
Sports
him. I'm
Network
starting
is my
Dawson
place
Knox
for
for him.
I'm so
three grown men dancing about fantasy football.
Yep.
2. Now 3. There you go.
I
Two
should
grown
have
men.
taken
If you
the
don't
coat off
subscribe-
so you could have a shot at the python.
You're looking good with the coat.
That's right. Thank you, Same Old
It's a
Sports.
little
Always
mock
there.
neck, a little something.
I like it.
Yeah, if you have Tunyon as a backup and you're not playing him, you can hold on to him. You have that risk. But if he's your starter, you're panicking right away.
Yeah.
All right. We're short on time because in 3 minutes we have the fantasy football boot camp starting up, guys. Stick around, watch that show, get more advice. Also, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. We're waking up early as hell. Actually, Mike and I will be on tomorrow all day, 12 hours all day. Tony will join us for a little bit, but Tony's actually going to go to the Rams game, do his thing. It's cool because Mike and I got tickets to the Charger and Raider game, so we're going to go to that on Monday. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., wake up with us. If you can't be with us on YouTube, go ahead and tune into our Instagram because we'll have the boot camp guys on Instagram and we'll be out here on YouTube, and we're going to be giving you everything you guys need to go. This is why you guys should tune in. Ready? And this is us signing off. Everybody say bye, Mike. Everybody say bye, Tony.
Peace.
This is why you guys should tune in. Here you guys go. See you guys tomorrow morning. Oh, I hit the wrong one.
Whoever has Cook should have Madison.
That's
And
true.
there you go. There's our first one right there.
Of course.
It's already up. Honestly,
Yeah, go on. Go with it, Mike.
I'm gonna go Madison. Urban Meyer is
I'm
not
going
thinking-
Madison too. I'll go Madison.
He's not
We're all
thinking about the thing.
All
Yeah.
three going Madison.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to change
McLaurin or Galladay. I'm seeing McLaurin for he's not going to get any of those deep routes. He'll get like 55 yards, maybe a touchdown. If you feel Galladay will do better than that,
Tell me to start Marvin Jones last week. Won my game because of y'all.
This comment gets
I
me
like that.
hyped. This comment gets me
thank you.
hyped.
Yeah, saved us, Scott. Thank you. I appreciate it. Trey Sermon, this is his opportunity. And Mike and Joe have been bored out of their minds listening to me rant about Sermon all year. So
No, I
I
trust
actually
you.
traded Thurman this week just to
Oh, that's opposite.
I've been fighting for Sermon so bad in leagues.
Would you all start James White versus the Saints, Trey Sermon versus the Packers?
100% Trey Sermon.
Trey Sermon. I'm going Trey Sermon all games. Odell. Oh, this is something interesting.
I'm playing Odell this week. I would play Odell. He's one of those wide receivers where you're like, if he's the only guy, he could actually break and get open by himself. He doesn't need another guy to take the defenses to avoid him. Odell is talented enough to find his space. Baker Mayfield has to just get him the ball. I don't see anyone else.
So that game right there, we're both thinking both defenses are going to play good.